Well, the cars are rolling from the garage area, getting ready for tonight's Thompson 150, presented by FlowSports.com. And a capacity crowd here at Thompson Speedway, ready to watch the Whelen Modified Tour.
They certainly are. This is home base. This racetrack has hosted more Whelen Modified Tour events than any other racetrack. It's obvious to see why. The support of the fans and, of course, the premier division of NASCAR, the Whelen Modified Tour. They're all coming off turn number 4. Let's go down and take a look at the story on today's pole position contender, Ron Silk.
On the pole tonight here at Thompson, Ron Silk, first time ever leading the field to green here at Thompson. Ron, plenty of wins here at this track. You know what it takes to get it done. Does this fast race car have what it takes tonight?
I mean, you never know until you get out there and see what you got, but I've been happy with it all day. Had a lot of speed in practice, drove really well, so looking forward to giving it our best shot.
Now, you won the race last time we were here competing back in April. What can you tell me about anything you guys have been able to carry over into tonight's competition?
Yeah, I mean, we have our car set up pretty much the same. Weather conditions are obviously a little different. It was really cold last time we were here, but happy with how it's driven all day, and we think we got a good shot at it.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
That's Ron Silk. He's looking for win number 9 here tonight at Thompson Speedway.
Well, thank you, Jesse. It's Ron Silk, who earned his 14th career pole. He'll lead him around to the green flag tonight. A strong front row. Chase Dowling is there. Luke Baldwin tonight will start 3rd, and Justin Bonsignor starts 4th.
Let's go back to row number 3. John McKennedy, a former Whelen Modified Tour champion. Kyle Bonsignor will be starting back in 6th. Austin Beers for 7th, and Matt Swanson for 8th.
Defending race winner Patrick Emerling led the entire race last year, starts 9th. Eric Burnt, part-time runner, in the field starting 10th. Jake Johnson, Matt Hirschman, 11th and 12th. They'll be factors tonight.
13th starting position, Steven Kopsick. The rookie outside will be Trevor Catalano, a previous winner already this season. Tommy Catalano starts 15th. Craig Lutz is 16th. Back in 17th is Jacob Lutz, car 14. And Teddy Hodgson, the 4th, will start back in 18th.
Old Blue with Tyler Ripkemo will roll off 19th tonight alongside Dylan Slepian, Eric Goodale, and Andrew Kraus in row 11.
Then back in the next row, it'll be Tyler Berry with car 59, Max Zeckham with the 20. Then we go to Ken Heggie, the 18, and Brian Sonez with car number 12, and Mike Marshall will pick up in starting position number 27.
Well, Ben, we got a great opportunity to welcome in a guest to our booth here as part of the Flow Racing broadcast. Steve O'Donnell, the president of NASCAR, is with us here tonight. Steve, you look back at modified racing that started on the beaches of Daytona back in 1948. Tonight, we celebrate the 750th Whelen Modified Tour event. What a special night it is.
It's awesome. It's a pleasure to be here. Incredible crowd tonight as well. And this is our oldest division, right? And I think it's deserving to be here tonight to celebrate our 750th. And the crowd that showed up is a testament to the great racing each and every week that the mods put on.
You know, the investment that NASCAR has put in the Whelen Modified Tour has become amazing in 2025. Big money is up on the line, but that's not the only story. It's the heritage. They are really focusing on what makes this the fastest in NASCAR today.
Absolutely. If you ask anyone in Daytona Beach, who puts on the best racing consistently, it's the modifieds. Credit to Joey Denowitz and his team for really focusing 25 and beyond on where we want to go with the mods. There's a focus for NASCAR and getting back to our roots. It's where we belong, and being at Thompson, terrific night. Great to be here, and really happy that the mods are still part of NASCAR and will be for a long, long time.
The National Series certainly is a premier division, but this is where so many talented names come from. The Modified Series, whether they be mechanics, drivers, current and past, drivers like Jeff Bodine with us tonight. It's got to be special just to be able to see and be part of this particular program for that reason.
1000%. This is where a lot of people get their start. This is also where a lot of people make names for themselves in careers, which is great as well. But, seeing drivers come up through the system, the fans that we have throughout this region are incredible. That it's the most popular area for NASCAR in general. And then seeing them on Sunday compete, whether it be on a pit box or in the car, is fantastic.
We also want to mention so much history came from the clubhouse, from this Honig family, 4 generations. It is a great day for modified racing, and one that we'll always remember. Thank you for being a part of it and doing so much for our sport and for modified racing.
Hey, thanks to you and everybody at Flow, too, for getting the mod story out there. We really appreciate it.
All right, Steve O'Donnell, president of NASCAR, joining us here tonight. Before we go green, Ben, for the 750th race of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, a special night indeed, and the lights on the pace car are out. We are ready to see the green flag and history in the making here tonight in Thompson.
Well, the field heads down into turn number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, get up and wave, make some noise, because we are about to send them off. 750 races. Thompson Speedway is the showcase here tonight.
Off turn number 4, Ron Silk, the pole sitter in the outside lane, sees a green flag, and for the 750th time, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour is underway.
There's no question about it. Silk takes advantage of things initially on the start, but down the back straightaway, Monsignor runs directly in the tire tracks with car 51. Remember, Silk is not a regular on the Whelen Modified Tour this season, and there is a rivalry between him and Justin Bonsignor.
Well, Justin Bonsignor has a lot to play for tonight as he rides there in second, but we'll go back a little deeper in the field, and it's John McKennedy trying to work the inside lane. The only car on the bottom so far in the early stages, he's working underneath the point leader, Austin Beers.
He's moving in to challenge with the Baldwin machine. Can't quite get the job done. All of a sudden, Matt Swanson is there. And here comes Austin Beers. Now, we talked to their crew chief. They also said the same thing, that they want to be there at the end, but they say that pit stops are crucial in this one. But Kennedy still works the bottom. Eric Burt, a surprise earlier today, and then right there with him is Jake Johnson.
Boy, Jake Johnson and John McKennedy have not had any love lost between the two of them in recent races, and they are right next to each other on the racetrack. We go back up front. Ron Silk, the race leader from the pole position, and Justin Bonsignor, who's got 14 victories here at this racetrack, one shy of the record laid down by Mike Stefanik at 15. He rides in second.
He certainly does, and he's not just riding. He is trying to stay within striking distance from, of course, Ronnie Silk. The mastermind behind him is Phil Moran, as that car is hooked up today. Surprise, folks, in the final lap of practice. His first lap was not good, but when it came to time trials, lap number 1, he threw away, and by lap 2, he was at the top of the chart.
Justin Bonsignor, Ryan Stone, his crew chief, did not think that they had a tremendous amount of speed in that 51, and they said before qualifying they were going to take a swing at it, and so far that worked because they're up to second. You go deeper into the pack, outside lane, the advantage here, the 7 New York, Luke Baldwin, and Eric Burt in the 11 car, Ben. He was second quick in practice earlier today, and he has had good showings at this racetrack.
He certainly has. Now remember, there's a race within a race here, Joe, as well. There's the Connecticut point standings that is so important, with a lot of extra money for those drivers that have been supporting this program from the state of Connecticut. Eric Burt is one of those contenders. He runs right in the tire tracks of Luke Baldwin. Not enough steam as yet, but he is definitely coming.
Eric Burt has had a lot of success at Thompson Speedway in weekly divisions, has raced here a very long time, a Connecticut native. He's part of that Flow Racing Connecticut Short Track Challenge. $25,000 in bonus money and prizes up for several of the drivers in the field. Eric Burt is one of them. The Gary Casella-owned 25 of Matt Swanson, another along with Dylan Slepian and Max Zackham, some of the cars that are competing for that money too. So there's a lot on the line here, and Eric Burt is a driver to keep your eye on in that 11 throughout the night.
You know, a guy that runs very well here but has not always had a lot of success is Jake Johnson, car number 07. Johnson is currently being shown in the 9th position as John McKennedy is trying to work him over. It just doesn't work for them. We drift back just a little bit. Burt is there. Behind Eric Burt is the Jake Johnson car, and Matt Hirschman just out of the top 10. Now, the real story with Matt Hirschman is an interesting one. As many times as Hirschman has won, he has not been able to win a Whelen Modified Tour event at the Speedway. So tonight, he's hoping to change all of that. Trevor Catalano is here in 12th. Craig Lutz is up to 13th. Steven Kopsikin in 14th. Right now, it appears that Luke Baldwin's got nothing but a mirror full of Eric Burt, lap after lap, single file, the story in that pack of cars.
At 7 New York, Luke Baldwin has shown a lot of talent and a lot of prowess through the early stages of the season. He's under attack, though, as Eric Burt looks to the inside of the back straightaway, settles back in line, and follows in his tire tracks. Now, Ben, one story that we were watching when they came to the green flag, the one car, last year's winner of Patrick Emerling, had to go to the back of the pack for unapproved adjustment. So he started dead last in the field today. He's moved up to 21st in the first 13 laps. But ironically enough, the same thing happened at New Smyrna Speedway to start the season, and it ended with a victory. Meanwhile, trouble on the front straightaway. Eric Berndt across the left front tire of Luke Baldwin goes airborne, hard lick for the 11 of Eric Berndt, and heavy damage also on the 7 New York of Luke Baldwin.
Well, you can see literally the damage done to the right front. Peel back at one point. We saw the 11 car literally up on top of the wheel of the Baldwin machine. Tight Racing and the Mizzies Construction Ferguson independent car is there, and now it looks like that Luke Baldwin is trying to get back to pit road with car number 7 New York, and really a tough break there. We were watching those two cars fighting lap after lap. They were, as we were saying, running in the bottom of the top 10 at this particular point. So car number 11, Eric Berndt, and there is the Luke Baldwin machine. The Luke Baldwin car does not appear to have a lot of damage. The rub rail on the right side is laid down, and of course the right front tire is flat. So that's the first car to head down on pit road as we speak.
That Nerf bar is going to have to be fixed. It's got to be on the race car. It's pointed downward, so they'll have to get that fixed. Tough break for Luke Baldwin. We spent some time earlier talking about the history of this track. Back in March of 1985 was the first Whelen Modified Tour event here at Thompson. His grandfather, Tiger Tom Baldwin, was in the race that day, driving a 7 New York that his grandson now drives nearly 21 years later,
you know,
or 40 years later.
There's another interesting fact. When the Honig family decided to repave this racetrack, the first driver that went onto the racetrack was Tom Baldwin Sr. to test it. Here's the situation. It appears that Eric Berndt, right to his outside, was the number 7, and of course spotters tried to clear, and then contact was made, Joe, and the end results is some extensive damage. There's a look at it again. And we can see Eric Berndt just kind of had no place to go, ran out of room. Baldwin was there, and the two came together, and the end results was the number 11 car suffering the worst of the wear. Baldwin was able to drive away. Tough break for Eric Berndt, who had such a strong performance in practice and in qualifying here today.
Discussion underway on the pit lane now as work continues there on the 7 New York of Luke Baldwin. Right front has been replaced, but the work has slowed.
And of course, we are under caution here at Thompson. And of course, Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders. The first name in light, sirens, and safety services used throughout the world. American-made Whelen Engineering. Tom Baldwin looking over the situation, and now they're being told that they can go out and start their work. And of course, he is the leader of the vessel in this one. They're jacking up the right side rub rail there, and a right front tire on the car as well.
There's Tom Baldwin, frustrated here with the early incident here on the opening 15 laps or so, the first caution of the day. You get a good look at all the action happening down there along the pit lane as work continues on that 7 New York team to see what they can do to get that car repaired. Now, a couple of other cars would take the opportunity to come down pit lane here under this first caution, and one of them is a 46 car of Craig Lutz. It was a surprise, Ben, to see how that team struggled here earlier today, because when you look at the cars in the series, Craig Lutz has led some of the 350 laps recently. He's led a lot here at Thompson. To see him struggle was kind of a surprise.
Really was. Jacob Lutz, no relations there, car number 14. He is back down on pit road, checking things out. The Baldwin car goes around, makes the loop, and comes back in. Erica Dales, number 38 car, also number 58 car, also visiting pit road as we speak. Teddy Hodgson unloaded that car, was very quick in practice. They were making some adjustments on it to get it quicker. Max Zackham's car number 20, also down on pit road. It appears that there are just 2 cars left on pit road, the 7 of Luke Baldwin and the number 20. Work still continues. It looks like they are now working on what appears to be an adjustment for the left front on car number 7.
So work continuing here as they try to repair this beaten and battered 7 New York for Luke Baldwin. Let's go back up toward the front of the field. So we've got Ron Silk as the race leader with Justin Bonsignor sitting there in second. But how about the car running in third? That is Kyle Bonsignor in that 22 car. They have certainly been able to gain some speed here as the season has gone on. They got the win this summer at White Mountain Motorsports Park, the first in several years for that team. And now they've got a good track position to start the day, and they said that was going to be our goal. If we can get up inside the top 5 early, we feel like we can play strategy to our advantage. And that is something, Ben, we heard a lot of earlier in the garage area, strategy. And just under this first pit stop, we see many cars on pit lane trying to take the first of those 9 tires that they can play with tonight.
You know, it was so interesting. We had the opportunity to talk to so many different crew chiefs and drivers in the paddock area earlier today. It appeared that one group said they wanted to pit early. It was essential that you had to pit when the front runners pitted. Then we talked to another group. They said no, pit out of sync. Get the tires you need early, late in the event, go for the final 2, and that could give you the advantage. Nobody had a magical formula that would raise or wave a wand to make it all come together and make it an easy combination. Works the continuing adjustment on the right front, and Luke Baldwin's car is down and heading back out.
So work continues. Now Luke Baldwin in that team right now showing 26th. He is 2 laps down off the pace of the race leader. So he'll have some work to do, but if some quick cautions come out here, he would be able to get those laps back as really the only driver 1 lap down. Eric burnt out of the race after that airborne trip across the front straightaway into the outside wall, and his day is done early on. Now, at the start of the race, Jeff Bodine and Dick Armstrong's Big Red Machine #1 pace the field. Well, a throwback style paint scheme here on the 1 car for Patrick Emerling as we get to see the modern version of the Dick Armstrong car. Even says Jeff Bodine on the side of that race car. He was a driver that won the event a year ago, led wire to wire all 150 laps, but Ben, he did have to go to the back of the pack because of unapproved adjustments after qualifying. He's been able to rally up inside the top 15, a little bit of track position gained at the racetrack, and a bit more when some of the cars in front of him came down pit road.
He certainly is, and of course, that car, they really like how that car runs at this particular racetrack. He's got a long way to go. We are only 20 circuits and counting here for the running of the Thompson 150 presented by the good folks at flowsports.com.
And they said earlier in the day today that, yeah, they had a lot of speed at the beginning of the season, but as the season went on, maybe they're not getting the results. They are not changing a thing. It is a brand new race car, but how they approach the races, the setups that they put inside the cars, they're going to be the same because they know they've got the speed. They just need the strategy to play out the way they need it to based on when cautions fall. We'll keep an eye on Patrick Emerling to see if he can race his way further forward. Want to follow up on the story down at pit lane with Luke Baldwin? Let's go down to pit road and Jesse Punch.
Yeah, guys, you see that 7NY on pit road for the 4th time now. I did talk to that crew after that last caution. Looked like there was some damage, but they feel confident they've got it all figured out. They changed that flat right front, and they've been able to maneuver that Nerf bar to get back into place. The adjustments they're making now, they're just trying to get this race after being in that last caution. Damage, not worried about it, just trying to get Luke feeling good and racing again.
Pretty much a right front tire down. You see him coming off pit lane, just feeling things out and making sure everything's set, because we are going to go back under the green flag. The safety trucks just went through the speedy dry one more time because where the incident happened, right here on the front straightaway, they'll be coming up through the gears on the restart. But Luke Baldwin will join at the tail end. The rest of the field's up in turn 2. Lights in the pace car are out. We're about ready to get back under the green flag.
We certainly are. Side by side and 2 by 2. They'll head down the back straightaway. We'll look for the pace car to dive to the center of the infield, and then it's showtime. Justin Bonsignor, a gentleman whose credentials at this racetrack is amazing. In 2025, Ronnie Silk's credentials here is been, well, it becomes the guy to beat. Row number 2, of course, Kyle Bonsignore, and then Chase Dowling in the Tinio car. Here they come, firing them up. Spotters say green, 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 and we are racing back at Thompson.
The field of modifieds pour down the front straightaway with Ron Silk. A healthy advantage over Justin Bonsignore. Few cars out of line deeper in the pack, but everybody's able to keep it pointed in the right direction. And the field races on down the back straightaway. Ron Silk leading the way.
There's only one car that is stuck on the inside, and it appears to be the Swanson number 25 car. He cannot get back up in line. It's that car currently running in contention just out of the top 5 in the 7th position. Down the back straightaway, things starting to settle in just a bit. All of a sudden, it is a battle developing for the 3rd and 4th position. Chase Dowling fighting off the opposition. This time, it is Kyle Bonsignore waiting in the wings, but the big question is for how long.
Dowling started on the outside of the restart, and you'll find here at Thompson that is where the leader will want to be. That's why Dowling was able to get around Kyle Bonsignore to the top side of the racetrack. Now he goes on the attack to see if he can close in on Justin Bonsignore, who so far has not really put a challenge to the back of Ron Silk. He's been pretty content just to ride.
Certainly has. He kind of tests the waters, looks to the inside. When the 44 arrived here, it was the quickest car in practice in the first round. All of a sudden, more rubber was put down to the racetrack. They went looking for shocks. They felt they didn't have the right setup. First lap of time, he had to throw it away. Lap number 2, it put him up front until the final car, and that, of course, was Ron Silk, took over the number 1 position to start in the front row in position 1.
And the racetrack will change because of the rubber that they lay down. This is a road course facility that runs in reverse direction on the oval. Now, most of that is on the apron part of the racetrack, but this racetrack has a lot of different cars and activity on it throughout the summer months, and it is different on both ends of the racetrack. Down here in turns 3 and 4, you slide up to the middle, try to gain momentum, and head down the main straightaway with a nice little bump as you get down into turn number 1. This racetrack has a lot of character as you see those sparks fly from that bump off the end of the front straightaway.
You certainly do, and it's always been the story. There used to be a bump coming off turn number 2. If you could master that bump, it would set you up and give you enough momentum. That's changed as the surface has changed. But there's no question, as we look at who's pulling out of line now, it is car 25. All of a sudden, the 25 moves into contend. Matt Swanson just went around Austin Beers, and that is going to put Matt Swanson into position number 5.
Gary Casella owns that 25, driven by Matt Swanson, and it really doesn't seem to matter who drives that race car in any modified series throughout the Northeast. Whoever's in it is quick, and Matt Swanson is a proven talent on the Whelen Modified Tour, and he's a proven talent in modified racing, and he's given that 25 car a ride tonight.
Certainly is. Of course, he runs supers as well. This kid's got a ton of talent. They've had a lot of engine problems this season, but they've overcome that, and today they're looking really racy. A car that is backing up just a bit appears to be Austin Beers, the number 64 car. Once Swanson went around him, the gap in the margin between those two has started to increase. Not a good sign. And all of a sudden, directly behind the Austin Beers machine, Trevor Catalano. The Catalano boys in hot pursuit here to get to the front. They've won on the short tracks, the brothers, but now they want a piece of the 5/8 mile here at Thompson.
Austin Beers came into the race today as a championship point leader. Still plenty of racing left to go this season, but this racetrack has not been all that kind to him. His best finish has been 4th, although it's come in the last 2 races. There's 2 races left in the season that come through Thompson Speedway, and one of them is a next to last, the penultimate race of the campaign. And if you want to win the Whelen Modified Tour Championship, it really has to come through the 5/8 mile oval here in Thompson. You have to have a good run here because it sets you up for that final stretch to the finish.
It certainly does. Well, caution flag comes out, and car number 63 is the first car to be heading down at the entrance of pit road. So we are under yellow, 35 laps in here, and as you can see, looking at what appears, had the chance to talk to this team earlier, Joe, today. This is a home-built race car. You know, the majority of the cars in the field are built by Fury. They're built by Troyer. They're built by LFR. PSI, they're built by those companies as well, but that is not the case with this car. This is a team out of Riverhead, Long Island, New York, and they come here because they want to take on the challenge of this 5/8 mile racetrack. You're looking at the man that has led all 35 of those laps, and that, of course, is Ron Silk with car number 16. Hard to believe at the start of this season, Joe, that Ron Silk got off to such a banner start, and then all of a sudden they said, no, we're sticking with our plan. We're not going to run all the races, but when we come to race, we're going to race to win.
And they've done just that. They became the first repeat winner last time out at Monadnock Speedway in New Hampshire, and looking for more tonight at a racetrack where he already has 8 wins, including his first career and first several career victories of his storied 2-time championship campaign for Ronnie Silk. Ben, when we were talking early about the fact that there was a lot of different strategies on the pit lane of when you come down pit road, we heard from some that they may want to pit early. Typically in these modified races, you want to pit lap 75, maybe lap 60 at the earliest. We'll see if anybody decides to test the waters here early. We see a couple of crews up on pit lane, signs in hand. Remember, they've got 9 tires to play with. They can take 2 per stop. We'll see what happens here tonight at Thompson and whether or not the strategy is to pit early or to pit late.
You know, stock is cheap, but putting it into play always becomes a different factor. We're looking at that as they come off of turn number 4, the 7 car is the Luke Baldwin machine. That gets the free pass. And the lookers heading down on pit road. John McKennedy is among the first cars in. 64 of Beers. The number 07 of Jake Johnson. Then, of course, the 54 of Catalano. 21 of Kopsick is in. Then it's the 3 car also in. Tyler Ripkema. And joining them now is the 59 machine. And that, of course, is Tyler Berry's car. So, and Max Zackham is back down on pit road. John McKennedy is among the first cars to pit, and he is among the first cars to make it back out. We're looking at the 64, and let's go down to Jesse Punch.
The 64 team making their way off pit road now. They had a bit of a celebration here when that caution came out. Perfectly timed, considering we were seeing Austin slowly slip back in the field there. They changed both the rear tires, made a minor adjustment on that left side, and sent him back out on his way.
Won the race off pit road, barely over Tyler Ripkema. Sly Zabin down on pit lane, pretty animated.
Yes,
but
he was.
Now here comes Tyler Ripkema and Stephen Kopchick. They're going to come back down pit road along with Teddy Hodgson for more service on their race car. But one of the teams, Ben, that told us that they would be coming down pit road early was the 64 car of Austin Beers, and Sly Zabin and that entire team decided to follow and execute on that strategy.
They certainly did, but you could see Sly was frustrated. Ronnie Uhouse and the rest of the gang all working together to try to make sure that their, strategic ideas were going to be the deciding factor. They've got a lot on the line here today as well. Ripkema changing the right front on the number 3 car. That's the Northeast Drilling Machine, USNE, and that car is down off the jack and returning to the competition again for Tyler Ripkema.
3 tires for both Tyler Ripkema and Tommy Catalano and Stephen Kopchick. So a lot of those teams came down pit road to see if they can get a little bit more rubber on those cars and race their way forward. The hope with this play here is that all the other cars up front, the Ron Silks of the world, the Justin Bonsignors, Chase Dowling, and others who did not come down pit road will have to pit eventually. That'll give these cars the track position and control late in the race. And that's the thought. We'll see how it plays out.
You know, you look at the schedule just around the corner for the Whelen Modified Tour. They are going to the bigger speedways. Of course, Richmond is the next big stop. They go to Thompson again for sure. And, of course, they'll go back to Riverhead Raceway. Who was the big dog there? The man that's in the front row, car 51, Justin Bonsignor. And, of course, Chase Dowling setting back in that 3rd position with Kyle Bonsignor.
So Luke Baldwin got one of his 2 laps back. Now he's still 1 lap behind the race leader as we prepare for the restart. We've seen 2 cautions so far, and the leader the entire way has been Ron Silk from the pole. The back row behind him looks a little different with Kyle Bonsignor this time above Chase Dowling as they come through turns 3 and 4. Looking for the restart one more time in the outside lane. It's Ron Silk who will look to fire first as a green flag flies.
Well, the green flag comes out, and it is still Ron Silk in command. But already the story is a pair of Bonsignors side by side. Up on the wheel and on the outside, Kyle Bonsignor, the pink and black machine, works its magic and moves quickly to the outside lane. They are side by side. Kyle Bonsignor is up to second.
Down the front straightaway they go. Kyle Bonsignor has a car that's pretty quick here tonight in the early going. He'll set his sights on Ron Silk up ahead. A little further back, you see Jake Johnson pit lane not too long ago. He's now working the outside lane. He gets by the Gary Casella-owned number 25, driven by Matt Swanson.
Meanwhile, directly behind them, it is the Kraus machine. Now, the Kraus car had a problem in tech earlier today. They had a problem with seat belts, had to call, get some extras brought to the racetrack. They did not have any time on the car itself during practice, and just before qualifying, they were able to make it back out. There's the Kraus machine, and now challenging directly to the inside, Steven Kopsick with the number 21 machine, the Warner construction car as well.
Look at those new tires working the outside for Austin Beers. That car certainly looks a lot more racy than it did at the start of the race. You look at some of the lap speeds, they're about 2 to 3/10 of a second slower than they were at the start of the race. And you got Austin Beers on fresh tires. He's trying to make good work of them.
Certainly is. John McKennedy trying to do the same thing. Here's the side-by-side race. Beers now to the inside of Kraus. Crossing over from the outside to the inside. Steven Kopsick tested the waters. It didn't work. Max Zackham is right there as well with car number 20. 5 cars in contention for the same positions. Meanwhile, Trevor Catalano has moved in to the top 5, and Matt Hirschman is up to 6 with Craig Lutz back in 7.
Take a look at Steven Kopsick here as he slides through turns 3 and 4. This is that passing zone here at Thompson. The art of getting down into turn 3 bend, sliding up across the nose of the driver next to you, and accelerating down the main straightaway. That's one of the tricks that you've got to do. Steven Kopsick directly ahead, trying to make that move work to the inside of turn 3 underneath Andrew Kraus.
While that was happening, Tyler Ripkema came down across the racetrack. Teddy Hodgson was there, did a nice save, and he was able to pick up the position. Meanwhile, car 54 also in the 19th position, directly behind Ripkema. There's a good battle still shaping up. Kopsick makes the move. Here comes Tyler Ripkema. He tries to sink in down underneath the USNE-powered machine. They come together, make a little noise, but the end results, Ripkema gets away. Kraus is following him in his tire tracks, and then it is Max Zackham.
That 24 car for Andrew Kraus really out of shape on both ends of the racetrack on the exit of the corner, and Tyler Ripkema now moves into 16th. So this is still well deep into the field here, but some of the best action because of the differing pit strategies. Max Zackham will now look to the inside of Andrew Kraus, and Catalano, who took those tires but is mired back in the bottom half of the top 10, top 20, and he is just trying to see if he can move forward and take advantage of the new tires that he got.
Certainly has. Steven Kopsick is really doing a great job with car number 21. He's been picking them off one at a time, and it's not an easy task. As the 54 car moves up yet another position, now in the 17th position. Here again comes Max Zackham trying to make the same type of a move to the inside lane. He is almost there, but can't quite do it. And then all of a sudden, Teddy Hodgson still back contending in this fight that has been going on for several circuits.
This is the 18th position with Teddy Hodgson working the inside of Max Zackham on the back straightaway, looking to the bottom. Hodgson is another driver that did come down pit road too and has tires as well as he tries to move forward. And this team here has had to rebuild this car several times this season. They've only got one of everything. They're not like the bigger teams, the Justin Bonsignors, the Ron Silks that have multiple cars in their stable. They've got one engine, one transmission, one race car, and
certainly do, and making the most of it is the key to their success. They just don't give up. They continue to dig and dig hard. The margin between first and second is not getting bigger, but look at this battle for second, side by side. It is Justin Bonsignor wheeling down underneath. Justin Bonsignor goes around Kyle Bonsignor to move back into second. Dowling is still back in fourth. John McKennedy has been the big mover and shaker since the last caution. He has worked his way into the top 5. Car number 79 is coming to the front.
How about car number 60? Matt Hirschman trying to put a move on Trevor Catalano to move inside the top 7. Hirschman has not yet come to pit road. Elite Towing, number 60, the Baker Racing machine, starting to move forward. And we know Matt Hirschman has good long-run speed on a regular basis. He is starting to show his strength in that 60 car.
Meanwhile, directly behind him is Greg Lutz, who's now moved back into the top 9. And right there with him, notice that big red machine, car number 1. Patrick Emerling is in the 12th position. He just went to the inside of the Catalano machine. Now he sets his sights on Jacob Lutz with car number 14. And right there with him, trying desperately to get back to the front, is our point leader, car number 64, Austin Beers.
We'll see if this plays out. He's up to 11th. When he came down pit road, he was 7th. And we're going to come by the start-finish line to put 59 laps up on the scoreboard, and time getting a little bit closer to the halfway point. Eric Goodale in the 58, working now inside of Trevor Catalano, as Catalano, after Matt Hirschman got by him, has kind of been stuck in that outside lane, and everybody's been able to drive to the inside.
Meanwhile, down into the turn, here comes Emerling. Takes it in deep, comes off the turn. Good bite there, but they're still evenly matched. Beers trying to pick and choose with car 64. Story is still pretty much the same. Back up towards the front of the field. Jonathan McKennedy is right there all over Chase Dowling. Dowling in the Tinio race car. The S&S paving machine is now being pressured by John McKennedy. McKennedy sweeps up the hill, pulls back in the tire tracks. He'll now make a bid for it on the bottom. John McKennedy made it look so easy, brand new. For the 4th position is now John McKennedy. That bumps Chase Dowling back to position number 5.
Dowling tried to get back underneath him there off turn 2, but just didn't have the momentum to make it work as his car begins to fade a little bit later into the run. John McKennedy continues to come to life. But how about Jake Johnson? He was sitting there right behind them. Jake Johnson, a lap or 2 ago, was running laps faster than Ron Silk, although he rides back in the 6th spot in the 07 car.
Certainly does. And remember, Ryan Stone is instrumental in the operation, of course, of Justin Bonsignore. But one of the guys that he helps and likes is Jake Johnson. He is able to provide them with the information that they need. And Jake Johnson will tell you that's made all the difference in the world. We've got a good battle still going on right now between the number 14 car of Jacob Lutz, and right there with him is Eric Goodale. Goodale has struggled a bit trying to come back to the front, but now he's going forward. Remember, Eric Goodale is a closer in the GF roofing machine.
Gets by Jacob Lutz, who's making his first start. We're going to see that 14 car more on the tour as the season rolls on. They had planned to run 8 races this season. Most of them will be in the second half of the year, and that's a good combination. Joe Stearns, Billy Putney. Billy Putney actually raced here at Thompson about 20 years ago in another modified series, part of a big modified mania weekend that was held here in the fall of 2007. And so he's got a lot of experience, and Jacob Lutz has proven to be a quick study behind the wheel.
He certainly has, but right now he's being pressured heavily by Matt Swanson. Swanson tries to make a move to the bottom. That pinches the car off, loses a little bit of momentum. That works to the advantage. All of a sudden, in the upper lane, it is Jacob Lutz, but short-lived. Here comes Matt Swanson. Swanson now moves into the 13th position. He's not done yet.
Tommy Catalano looking inside. Didn't have it that time. Will fall back in line as they work their way back to turn 1. Catalano working the inside lane. Thompson, you typically run the top. It's hard to make the bottom work.
You know, when you talk to drivers, they'll tell you this is a very unusual racetrack. There used to be a couple of different ways
to
pass.
Turn 1, we've got Luke Baldwin into the outside wall down there in turns 1 and 2. And the caution is out for the 3rd time here today. Cars rolling through turns 3 and 4. And they're going to go ahead and just put the red flag out after the hard hit down into turn 1 for Luke Baldwin.
Tough situation there, literally peeling off the right front suspension and the right front wheel there as the red flag comes out. And that brings the field to a stop down the backstretch. Lap number 68 is up on the board. There's been no lead change in 68 circuits. Ron Silk, who, of course, started the event in the front row, has been the dominant car up front. Justin Bonsignore dropped back a bit, but then he was able to come back and take over second from Kyle Bonsignore. John McKennedy, from the last time we had a caution, he passed more cars than anyone else to get back to the top 4. Chase Dowling has been hanging around in the 3rd and 4th position and now setting back in the 5th spot. Jake Johnson moving forward in 6th. Matt Hirschman, same can be said, in 7th. Craig Lutz is 8th. Patrick Emerling is 9th. And Austin Beers rounds out the top 10.
Tough night for Tommy Baldwin and his team. Luke Baldwin there. Obviously a hard hit getting into turn 1, but he has now climbed from the race car under his own power, surveying the damage up there in turn number 2 as he takes a look at the right front, see exactly what went wrong and how vicious of a hit that was into the turn 1 wall here at Thompson. These short tracks, very few tracks you go to around the country have a safer barrier like we're so used to seeing on TV. And these walls here at Thompson, backed with dirt and soil behind them, they make a pretty hard hit when you go in off the end of the front straightaway.
We're going to take a look at a replay and see if we can find out exactly what happened. Down into turn number 1, apparently something broke on the automobile because it went straight in, Joe, hard, and made contact. And there you can see the air cleaner coming off the engine of the car, the right front, the tether holding it on top of the car. So an unusual chain of events taking place as the car number 7, Luke Baldwin, had worked his way back up to 22nd. And there's his dad looking in that direction and, of course, not happy at all.
We'll get a look at this in real time, but that's really one of the worst ways you can hit off the end of the front straightaway here at Thompson. You see the car just take off and just did not turn at all when it went into turn 1. A vicious hit for Luke Baldwin. So good to see him be able to get out of that race car and shake it off here as he walked down the very steep banking here at Thompson to the attention of the safety crew. But they will get that car put back together. Luke Baldwin will be back with us a few races from now on down the road, and we'll see more of that 7 New York as the season rolls on.
There's no question. And of course, they have been so strong in Southern Modified Racing this season, among the top teams to beat and so forth with it. So Tommy Baldwin Jr. talking to the track crew as
third caution of the night came out on lap 68. We are now under the red flag for cleanup in turns 1 and 2. We'll take a moment to step aside and come back with more of the Thompson 150 presented by FlowSports.com. Back here at Thompson Speedway, the Thompson 150 presented by FlowSports.com. Under the red flag for a heavy hit into turn 1 by Luke Baldwin, who discusses the situation over with his dad down on the pit lane, and he is out of the event. The car now being towed off the racetrack, hammock style, wrecker on both ends, because that car took a heavy lick there on the right side as he just went off the end of the front straightaway, did not turn at all, and went straight into the concrete wall of turn 1.
That's one of the faster points of this racetrack, too, and he did hit it a ton. Had a tough start to today, as we saw before. That car was in on pit road after it was involved in an earlier altercation. The right front was down on the car, the right rub rail, but they put it all back together. They were coming forward, but not as strong. They were up to the 22nd position at the time when something obviously broke, and the car went straight in down in turn 1.
So under the red flag here, we've had 3 cautions so far tonight. The first was for an incident early on in the event. It involved Luke Baldwin and Eric Burnt along the front straightaway. Caution 2, lap 35, was for the 63 car of Dylan Slepian. He had a problem out in turns 3 and 4. Now this is the third caution for the incident in turn 1 with Luke Baldwin. The red flag has been lifted. Let's hear from Luke Baldwin. He's with Jesse Punch.
Luke, first and foremost, are you okay after that big hit?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Do you have any idea what happened there?
Yeah, when got stuffed on the fence on like lap 10, 15, whatever it was, it obviously hurt the front. We were working on it, working on the toe, and so I think the tie rod was just never all the way tight. Right front tie rod was never all the way tight. So as soon as I spun a little bit of tire trying to drive it, stay on the lap we were on, once the right front tire went right, it stayed right, and then snapped going into 1 and just never had a chance.
Thanks, Luke. I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Well, you can see the disappointment in his face, a situation everybody was trying to do the right things, but all of a sudden something was either loosened up or something literally broke from the previous contact in the competition here. The field is now moving as we speak. 69 is still showing up on the board, and there are only, well, one car, one taker, which is the number 18 that is down at pit road for Ken Heggie out of Calverton, New York, in the Christopher Fleming car. So that car is down there for a quick pit stop. And again, you can see a lot of people still around. And of course, this caution is brought to you by the good folks from Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders, the first name in light, sirens, and safety services used throughout the world. American-made Whelen Engineering.
So those caution lights brightly illuminating the Speedway here. A capacity crowd on hand for this August event, a tradition here at Thompson Speedway, and a midweek show always proves to create some drama, some excitement. We know that the opportunity now for the teams to come down pit lane here just a couple of laps shy of the halfway point presents some unique intrigue to this race, because we have seen some cars already come down pit road, and among them are drivers like Austin Beers, who's back in 10th, Tyler Ripkema, who's back in 12th, and others that have come down pit road. They've gotten tires. Do they come back in, or do they stay out and assume the race lead?
You know, when you have to take a look at Jonathan McKennedy, all these teams are watching each other, by the way. It's just not their own race car. They're trying to strategically see what can be done. Jonathan McKennedy was the first guy to pit under the first caution. He has worked his way back into the top 4. Now, interestingly enough, besides all of that, the number 79 car started back in the 11th position. Meanwhile, the parade of cars head down on pit road, and the entire field of front-running cars are quickly there, except for John McKennedy, Austin Beers, Tyler Ripkema, and Steven Kopson.
Let's go down to pit road and Jesse Punch.
The 16 of Ron Silk coming down pit road, that team working on both rear tires. Ron has led the entirety of this race, and it looks like he is also just barely going to miss that race off pit road. The 51 of Justin Bonsignor seems to have beat him, guys. Confirm if I'm wrong. I'm a little hard of vision down here.
See, Jesse, and it was indeed Justin Bonsignor who was able to get ahead. He was able to win the race off of pit lane, but the last time the cars were on pit road, they cycled back around and got another tire, so it may not be over yet. Justin Bonsignor, Ron Silk, and look who's in the picture now. Matt Hirschman, third off the pit lane. He picked up a couple of spots.
Certainly did. The elite number 60 is hooked up, and then also with that group of cars, we have the other Bonsignor car that has moved into line into formation. Here they come back in. This is, well, rinse and repeat, as the old saying goes, because they're going to go back in, and we're going to take a look and see what tires are now going to be the story. You're looking at the 16 of Ron Silk. Phil Moran calling the shots from behind the wall. They're putting on a right front on that car, and that is exactly what took place down off.
Oh, but look at the work done by Matt Hirschman and his team. They took a different strategy.
Yes, they did.
They took the left rear tire on this time, so the crew did not have to go as far over the wall, and Matt Hirschman is going to win the race off of pit road, jumping 2 spots. He came in pit road at the bottom half of the top 10. He's going to leave pit road first among the drivers that came down into this cycle. So Matt Hirschman first off of pit lane. Justin Bonsignor will come out in second. Then it's going to be Patrick Emerling, Ron Silk, and Kyle Bonsignor, the top 5. Pretty wild here. Let's take a look back at the Hirschman stop. Notice they're working on the left rear tire. They're trying to be able to take advantage of the crew not having to run around the car, and that was the difference of them being able to get off pit road first.
No question about that. And also Patrick Emerling has moved into contention with that pack of cars, by the way. He's directly behind the Hirschman machine as the outside row. You're looking at it now as they are in the turn, and you can see Hirschman's car picked up a spot in the outside lane on the restart. You know, here at this racetrack in the old days, they used to, well, talk back and forth. Outside was the way to go in a restart. Inside, whatever the case may be. Well, we're going to see it put to the test, because the point leader takes on a former champion in row number 1 And then, of course, Tyler Ripkema, long overdue for success. Steven Kopsik, the top dog in the rookie category, is outside of that second row.
So John McKennedy and Austin Beers on the front row as they bring them around to the green flag on lap number 74 as they cross the line. Their tires are 40 laps older than everybody else who came down pit road. Matt Hirschman first among them, restarting 10th on the outside of row 5. But it's McKennedy to the race lead. Now the battle is on for second as they scatter deeper in the pack with Hirschman under attack underneath Tommy Catalano.
No question about it. Hirschman continues to try to guard this spot. Patrick Emerling runs right there behind him. No one stepping out of line right now, but back to the front of the field. Austin Beers trying to hold off the opposition of Steven Kopsik. Kopsik, the rookie, moves into second. Dive bonds to the inside. Steven Kopsik tries and tests the water. It doesn't work. John McKennedy still in command.
Kopsik's cars look very good. Austin Beers goes from the front row. He'll lose a couple of spots, now back to 4th. And Jake Johnson, who was strong here in the icebreaker but crashed late, finds himself inside the top 3.
Certainly does. Jake Johnson is a guy to keep your eyes on. Austin Beers drops back to 4th. Tyler Ripkema in 5. Side-by-side bid between the Kraus number 24 to the outside lane. Then it is car number 55, Connecticut, Teddy Hodgson, right there on the outside. Meanwhile, Patrick Emerling is blocked in. He tries to make the move, and here comes Kyle Bonsignore.
John McKennedy likes what he's seeing. He likes seeing Patrick Emerling and Matt Hirschman race each other because he wants to build as much gap as possible. Because I do believe John McKennedy and those cars up front are not coming down pit road again. They've got what they've got. They're going to try to fend off the challenge of the drivers, Matt Hirschman, Patrick Emerling, and everybody else who pitted under that most recent caution.
It certainly is an unbelievable battle there. Now, 3 cars contending. Chase Dowling's car backs up just a bit, and moving forward is the Kraus machine. Dowling is back in the 10th spot now. Andrew Kraus is working him over. Eric Goodale is coming towards the front.
Look at the struggle for Justin Bonsignore and Ron Silk. They were leading this race. Certainly some of the fastest cars on track. Right now they are mired back in traffic. Justin Bonsignore just gets by Eric Goodale for 12th. Behind them, Ron Silk trying to follow in through the tire tracks, but the outside lane of Andrew Kraus is really holding these fast cars up, at least the cars that were fast before that caution.
It certainly is, and all of a sudden, Bonsignore has broken through. Meanwhile, Silk saw the opportunity, couldn't do it. Directly behind them, another great battle is going on, but there is Bonsignore and Silk. Here comes Silk. Made a bold test of the waters, ball down low. It didn't work. He pulls back into formation.
Silk knows that he's got to dispatch of the 51 of Justin Bonsignore very quickly because those 2 cars are good. If he can get them now, it would help him. Here comes Steven Kopsik down to the inside line looking for the race lead. Nearly contact, and Jake Johnson will sneak on through to take over the top spot. They are 3 wide on the backstretch into 3.
They sure are. And the guy that's stuck in the outside lane is John McKennedy. He got shuffled up the racetrack. Here comes Patrick Emerling now. Meanwhile, Teddy Hodgson tries to work his magic down underneath the 3 car of Tyler Ripkema. Heading to the front, car number 1, Patrick Emerling, moves in, takes over the 6th position. He's not done yet. He's continuing to march forward.
The car that hurt the most was the 60 of Matt Hirschman. He was charging up through the field, but that cost him dearly. McKennedy, he might have been the biggest loser of the whole deal, though, going from the lead now outside the top 10.
Meanwhile, another side-by-side race going on between the 3 of Tyler Ripkema and, of course, Teddy Hodgson. Hodgson makes the move. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. Hodgson tries to hold off. Tyler Ripkema picks up by inches, but in the center of the turn, Teddy Hodgson digs in hard. Directly behind them is the 1 of Emerling, and here comes Kyle Bonsignore.
Contact between Emerling to the back bumper of Tyler Ripkema. Now Austin Beers working inside. This is a battle for second. Steven Kopsik was challenging for the race lead a lap or 2 ago. Now it's Jake Johnson, who's a second ahead.
Meanwhile, it continues to be a great battle. Austin Beers all over the rookie, and that's Steven Kopsik. Beers sinks it in at a ton, pinches a car to the bottom of the racetrack. Kopsik up on the wheel, pulls back in the line, noses ahead. But the big question is for how long? Jake Johnson in command of the event. Steven Kopsik still in second. And then, of course, Austin Beers, Teddy Hodgson, and Tyler Ripkema.
An important night for Austin Beers, riding 3rd right now with Justin Bonsignore outside the top 5. He's running 10th at the moment and not able to move forward. That could be huge from a championship standpoint if Austin Beers could keep that advantage to the checkered flag.
Here comes Patrick Emerling. He's now moved in, taken over the 5th position. While that's been happening, here comes Austin Beers. He's being a little bit cautious, trying to ride it out. Steven Kopcik holding on to that 2nd spot. Here comes Beers to the left of your screen, trying to make the move for the lead. To the right of your screen, you're looking at Ron Silk as he tries to work his way down underneath Chase Dowling. There's Hirschman. They come together. That upsets Silk's car, and now it is Chase Dowling that picks up the spot. He is side by side with Silk on the right side of your screen.
Left side is a battle for 2nd. The right side, it's Ron Silk trying to hold on to a top 10 position after leading the first half of this race in dominating form, and he has now got his hands full, stuck on the bottom. Hirschman will run him down the racetrack a bit on the main straightaway, but Silk is not going to like that. He'll fight back to the bottom.
And while that's been happening, it is Justin Bonsignore who's moved in. Justin Bonsignore is in 11th, just out of the top 10. He's now to the inside of Chase Dowling, who is currently running in the 10th position. Meanwhile, right side of your screen, Kyle Bonsignore also trying to get into the hunt. He's in the 7th position, the pink and black car. He just bumps back to number 3 of Tyler Ripkema back in 6th.
So 6th now for Kyle Bonsignore. There you see Silk continuing in the 16, the silver car, to try to find a way around the yellow and red car of Matt Hirschman down in turn 1. And Eric Goodale in line there in the 58, trying to put some heat to the back bumper of the Chase Dowling 44.
There's no question about it. Good racing back up front. Left side of your screen, take a look at the 1 car. Patrick Emerling has moved in on Austin Beers. Beers setting in the 3rd position. Here comes Emerling up on the outside. Austin Beers has got to go for it or settle back and lose the position. He does. Patrick Emerling now works over the Steven Kopcik 21 car. Here comes Emerling. Bold move to the inside, just doesn't work.
That Emerling car on fire tonight. He's running faster than the race leader, Jake Johnson. Look at the crossover. Outside lane, inside lane, using the momentum of that banking off turn number 2. Will it carry into turn 3?
Well, the big red machine is looking racy, like days of old when, of course, Jeff Bodine was behind the wheel. Today, we've got another battle shaping up just behind them. It is between Austin Beers and Kyle Bonsignore. That's on the left side of your screen. On the right side, Silk's car just backed up, gave the position away. It is Justin Bonsignore, and Chase Dowling's come to life. His car is loosened up in the top side of the racetrack. 2nd
place now belongs to Patrick Emerling. He can set his sights on Jake Johnson. He's got 53 laps to see if he can track him down, and there is more than enough time with 1.6 seconds between the two and fresh tires, 40 laps to the good for Patrick Emerling to try to see if he can go back-to-back in wins at Thompson, but still a long way to go.
Certainly is a long way to go, and as you look at the right side of your screen, you see that Hirschman is trying to make up some valuable time. He is in the 8th position. You're looking at the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Tyler Ripkema trying to hold on to the inside lane. Will he be able to do it? Here comes the elite. Number 60 can't do it. Tyler Ripkema is there. All of a sudden, inside lane becomes racy. Look to the left side of your screen, and you can see it is a strong battle. Kyle Bonsignore has just motored around the Steven Kopcik car.
750th race for the Whelen Modified Tour. This one has had just about everything. Interesting strategy, couple of cautions early on, and now great action in the second 50 laps, or the final third of this race, with 50 to go as they come through this time by. In command, Jake Johnson, who has had great runs here at this racetrack, but there's great intense battles all the way through the top 10.
They certainly are, and you're looking at one of the best of those battles. We can see Teddy Hodgson holding off the Montanari fuel machine. Here comes Matt Hirschman, reels him in, goes from the outside lane to the inside. What a beautiful move that was. Give car number 60 up into the top 6. That bumps Teddy Hodgson back to 7th. He's not done yet. And in Steven Kopcik up to 4th, with Beers in position number 5.
That was a textbook move by Matt Hirschman off turn 4. That is how you get a nice clean pass done here at Thompson. And he's now been able to distance himself back to Tyler Ripkema. Now Justin Bonsignor, his car starting to come back to life. And there's some of those cars that were good on tires now starting to fade. And Bonsignor and Silk, we know they've got good long run speed.
You know, if you don't believe that tires make a whole lot of difference, John McKennedy is now back in the 19th position after coming so strong to the front of the field. Chase Dowling has been one of the teams that have not pitted for all of their tires at any given point. He's struggling back in the 12th spot. Craig Lutz is 13th. Trevor Catalano up to 14th. Matt Swanson in 15th.
Here's Chase Dowling now underneath the Teddy Hodgson car to move into 11th, trying to bring Craig Lutz right along with him, who has been quiet tonight, and that was a surprise from practice on. Craig Lutz and this team not having the speed they normally have at Thompson.
Certainly has not been the case, but now he's starting to show some muscle. He's following the 44, the Tenio car, to the front of the field if at all possible. That's the battle for the 10th, 11th, and 12th position. Eric Goodale, the GAF roofing machine, has moved in to the 10th spot, just in front of Dowling. And now you're looking at Goodale. He's reeled in on the back bumper, of course, of the number 16 machine of Ronnie Silk. Silk's car seems to be a lot looser, Joe, all of a sudden. Goodale is still there. We're looking at a lot of right front brake rotors literally glowing on the race cars. They're using a lot of brake. Here comes Justin Bonsignor. He moves down, tries to pick up the 7th position. Going, gone. He does exactly that. Meanwhile, Silk says he wants a piece of the action. He makes a bold move to the inside, right side of your screen. Left side, Joe, Matt Hirschman still going forward.
That'll put Matt Hirschman into the 4th spot. He has now cleared some of that traffic behind. He's got a long way to go to track down Kyle Bonsignor and the rest of the top 3. But, boy, if a caution were to come out, you could not count Matt Hirschman out of this one because his car is flying in the late going. The important thing to look at, though, Austin Beer is a championship point leader, now 5th. Justin Bonsignor now 7th. We talked about that gap about 20 or 30 laps ago. It has now shrunk the advantage that Austin Beers had.
It certainly has. And, of course, when I talked to Sly Zabin, he said, we're not here to run for points. We're here to run for wins. This track hasn't been kind to us. We've been consistent, but consistency doesn't win races. We need to be better than that. Meanwhile, the battle's still raging between the number 51 of Justin Bonsignor and Eric Goodale. Goodale, with the number 58 car, started back in the 21st starting position. So he's come a long way. John McKennedy was so strong earlier, he's back there and struggling. Car 79 is back in 21st.
And just went a lap down when he was the race leader when we were back under the green flag after that caution right about the halfway point of this event. And so a tough break in a sequence of events there for John McKennedy. Now, the gap up front has closed. We noted it a little while ago. It was 1.8 seconds was the biggest it had gotten. But now as Jake Johnson works in traffic, Patrick Emerling has cut that down within a second. They're within the same frame there. The 07 Jake Johnson, the race leader. The one car Patrick Emerling sitting there in second, and he is closing quickly.
He certainly is. He is not wasting any time at all. He continues to run to the inside now. Takes a peek at the bottom. Kraus slams the door. Meanwhile, Patrick Emerling changes his line just a bit. You talk about a textbook move. That was another one. Patrick Emerling is moving even forward in this field. Lap traffic has been pretty much the story for some. That is not the story for Patrick Emerling. He is trying to move in to contend with Jake Johnson.
35 laps to go, and Jake Johnson's got a little bit of clear racetrack, probably a third of a lap before he'll catch the next round of lap traffic. If I were him, it would be hammer down, open up that gap over Patrick Emerling, because Emerling is looming large in the rearview mirror.
He certainly is. Emerling is the quicker of the two cars. But the big question is, we are on lap number 116. What will happen if a caution flag comes out? What will be the pit strategy? This brand new race car that they brought into the racetrack tonight, looking like Jeff Bodine's winning car, seems to be the magical formula. Now, all of a sudden, 3 cars contending. It is a battle as Bonsignor tries to get around Stephen Kopsick to move into the 6th position. Goodale is right there back in the 8th spot, going for 7th now as they come off turn 4.
He'll look outside around Justin Bonsignore. Kopsick able to get on through. You see the battle up ahead. It's the lap car of John McKennedy, and the 64 car of Austin Beers gets by quickly. Kopsick will go to the inside as well off turn number 2 as they continue to work their way through this lap traffic for the first time tonight. It's starting to become a factor.
Certainly is. John McKennedy's car is literally best described in one word, and that is evil. All of a sudden, he's trying to keep the car in position, hoping for a caution to come out. Here comes Goodale. We called him the closer many, many times, the GAF roofing machine. He's trying to work to the outside. The Phoenix car slips up the racetrack just a bit, pulls back in the line, and Stephen Kopsick is not folding to the pressure by any stretch of the imagination. This is the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th position. Here comes Goodale now to the inside of Bonsignore.
Set sail on the inside lane. Ron Silk trying to do the same, but here comes Bonsignore with a little bit of a crossover. Did not have the momentum as Goodale wisely protected the bottom off turn 4.
There's no question they continue to work their magic. Now here comes Silk. He tried to get a wheel down underneath Bonsignore, but the car seemed to loosen up. The car that looks really racy all of a sudden is Goodale.
Let's take a look at the race lead because the battle for the top spot is intense. Jake Johnson leading the way down into turn number 3, but Patrick Emerling is there. He's within 2 car lengths off turn 4.
There's no question he continues to rumble and make his presence known. Watch the 1 car as it goes down the back straightaway. On the last circuit, that car would launch and he would be able to reel in. You just saw it there. Unbelievable power and setup. Jake Johnson still in command, but Patrick Emerling now takes a sneak peek to the bottom of the racetrack.
Emerling trying to take advantage of a loose Jake Johnson. He'll razzle-dazzle his way to the inside lane and take over the top spot. Patrick Emerling just 25 laps shy of the finish when they hit the line this time by the new race leader in Thompson.
Patrick Emerling shows that he can lead an event here at Thompson no matter what. He didn't have to lead from green to checker in this one, but he is back in command. Johnson still settles back in the 2nd. Kyle Bonsignore is in 3rd. Matt Hirschman is up to 4th, and Austin Beers in the 5th spot. What is that going to do to all of the points as Justin Bonsignore is back in 7th with Kopsick and Silk 8th and 9th.
If it ended now, Beers would gain a few, which gaining points on Justin Bonsignore at Thompson, I think, is at least a step in the right direction for the 64, but I know they wanted more. They're going to lose one here as Eric Goodale goes to the inside. It would only be 1 position now separating Austin Beers and Justin Bonsignore. A reminder about Patrick Emerling. He started dead last tonight.
Yes,
Unapproved adjustments after qualifying. He did the exact same thing in the first race of the season at New Smyrna Speedway. He came home victorious that day. Will history repeat itself here in the same season at Thompson? Can he start last and win the race tonight?
You know, that is the power of mind over matter, they say, and he is just doing exactly just that. Good battle shaped up right there for a while, and all of a sudden Silk now has the Kraus machine directly in front of him. Now Silk is trying to make the move down low to try to get within striking distance of the number 51 car of Justin Bonsignore. Patrick Emerling is still in command. Jake Johnson's car did loosen up, but right now, let's see what's happening here. Here comes Kopsick now. He goes up the racetrack. Car loosens up. Back end of it moves to the left and then to the right. And all of a sudden, here comes the 25 of Matt Swanson. Swanson now in the top 10.
Looking inside of Andrew Kraus on the front straightaway. We'll sneak underneath him as they continue to work in turns 1 and 2. And Kopsick just trying to get away from Matt Swanson and hold on to the 9th position as time closes. But Swanson will look inside in turns 3 and 4 and see if he can get it underneath.
It is Matt Swanson rim riding to the bottom of the racetrack. Swanson is side by side. Kopsick in the outside lane. Kopsick's car's loosened up just a bit. Swanson gets the spot. Matt Swanson is now into the 9th position. He's not done yet. Kraus tries to nip at the heels of car number 21 for Stephen Kopsick.
Great battle here. Meanwhile, up front, Jake Johnson and Kyle Bonsignor going toe-to-toe for the runner-up spot. Kyle Bonsignor trying to put a period on what has been a strong night for him, and that 22 car goes underneath the 07 on the front straightaway, headed for one.
He certainly does, and while that has been happening, here comes Matt Hirschman. Hirschman moves to the inside. Hirschman looks to take over the spot, can't do it, has to settle back into fourth. Good battle right there as those three cars still contending nose to tail. Meanwhile, Hirschman sets his sights, and now Hirschman's up to the third spot. Kyle Bonsignor is a guy to watch up in second still. Does Hirschman have anything for Bonsignor?
See if he can slide into the second spot. This battle 2.5 seconds behind the race leader, Patrick Emerling, who's well ahead at this point in the event, but a strong recovery here for Matt Hirschman after the problems he had, shuffled out of line after that caution.
Certainly has done just exactly that, but it is still Patrick Emerling in command of this event. 1:35 is up on the big board in this 150-lap event, and it still remains Hirschman working over Kyle Bonsignor. Now, Joe, he's going to go to the outside there, try to make the move. Can he do it or not? And then all of a sudden, he's up on the wheel in the outside lane as Hirschman cannot complete the mission there. Heavy lap traffic ahead of both of them.
That's a bold move right there to try to go to the outside for Hirschman. I think the gamble could have paid off depending on how the lap traffic, and I think that's what he had in mind, Ben, but just not enough steam to make it work in the outside lane. He will try again, though, as we continue to count the laps down. 12 across the line when the race leader comes through.
Certainly is, and if you notice very closely, look at the back end of Hirschman's race car. There is something that is, well, it's not touching the ground, but is it something that is broke on the suspension, a piece of body material? What is the case? Now, all of a sudden, it is Matt Hirschman puts the elite car into position number 2, and there's what we were talking about, directly under the I-beam bumper on the left rear of car number 60.
We'll have to see if he can milk that to the finish. Doesn't seem to be impacting performance all that much for the 60 car of Matt Hirschman, because he just moved into the second position, albeit 2.7 seconds behind Patrick Emerling, who's well ahead of this battle but is mired in traffic. He's in turn 3 at the moment. He's got to work around a couple of cars that were pretty quick, and that's Craig Lutz of the 46 and Tyler Ripkema, who are racing side by side for a moment in front of the race leader, Patrick Emerling.
They certainly are. Emerling goes around Tyler Ripkema, and Lutz is trying to stay with the leader. Of course, 141 now complete up on the big board. From a scratch position to a front position in a car, well, that Jeff Bodine was honored to have as a tribute car today. They brought a bit of the past and a lot of the presents. And right now, presently, car number 1 is position number 1. And another big red machine could be today's victor.
What a perfect period, an exclamation point, we should say, on 750 races, given the history of the series, the history of the event. You can't count it over until it's over. Matt Hirschman's going to need a little help, though, with 6 laps to go when they come across the start-finish line next time by, and a 2.5 second advantage for Patrick Emerling. That's going to be hard to overcome unless something goes Matt Hirschman's way in the final few laps here.
Certainly is. And of course, as we've been watching, there is Matt Hirschman continuing to work his way through traffic, comes up on the Catalano automobile. Hirschman really has had a very strong run here, but unfortunately not as strong for him as Patrick Emerling. Kyle Bonsignor on the podium throughout the majority of this event. Jake Johnson, early strong leader in the top 4. Eric Goodale still setting in position number 5. Matt Swanson is in 6th. Austin Beers is 7th. Justin Bonsignor is 8th. Ronnie Silk is 9th. And Jacob Lutz currently running in 10th.
Patrick Emerling all by himself off the end of the back straightaway. He's got some time to go before he catches the next lapped automobile. He's got some comfort with 3 laps left to go. Patrick Emerling in his run, Dale Hedquist and this team, and a healthy advantage back to Big money Matt Hirschman, who is still yet to win at Thompson under the Whelen Modified Tour banner, and tonight his 31st attempt at this racetrack.
It's coming down to this and down to the wire. Imagine starting from last position, coming all the way to the front of the field. Not once in a season. He did it at New Smyrna at the start, and he's looking to prove it again. He said that Thompson is one of those racetracks he feels the most comfortable at. Well, that comfort is in a zone of his own at the front of this field.
It's a brand new race car that they brought to Thompson here tonight for this event. It's painted like the Big Red Machine, Dick Armstrong, and Jeff Bodine that made it famous. Tonight, history in the making, 750th race for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And as he guides the car through turns 3 and 4, that race number 750 is going to go to Patrick Emerling. He wins tonight at Thompson Speedway, his 2nd of the season and 9th of his career in 2025.
Car number 1, Jeff Bodine, is in presence here tonight. They brought back the new style jewelry original number 1 that dominated here at Thompson. But tonight, it's a 1, and there's the big hugs from everybody down there on Pit Road, because the new style jewelry machine has done it. Patrick Emerling will take down the impressive victory. Matt Hirschman in for 2nd. Kyle Bonsignor was 3rd. Jake Johnson for 4th. Eric Goodale for 5. Matt Swanson for 6th. Austin Beers for 7th. Justin Bonsignor for 8th. Ron Silk for 9th. And Jacob Lutz to round out the top 10.
So Patrick Emerling has won at Thompson, an impressive drive. 2 wins this season, both coming after starting dead last. Was able to get the job done tonight. Very, very impressive given the fact that it's a new car, new combination, and they now are victorious. Jeff Bodine walking across the start-finish line here at Thompson on the front straightaway, having the opportunity to see a car that he drove so many times before, painted with his name adorned along the side. The entire crew going to go ahead and give him congratulations, having won in that special tribute paint scheme with Jeff here on the property.
And what an amazing accomplishment. There's Jeff Bodine down there to congratulate Patrick Emerling. And there's Jeff Bodine's name right there on the side of the car that rode to the front of the field. And you can see Jeff is ecstatic, and so is Patrick Emerling. And what a deserving victory.
Patrick Emerling climbing out of his race car. He has won the Thompson 150 in car number 1 in the 750th NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour event.
Patrick Emerling gets a big hug from Jeff Bodine. Patrick, what a day. Starting from the back, working your way up through the field, and parking this Big Red Machine in victory lane once again. How do you describe a day like today?
Yeah, we battled some adversity there. We just weren't running right all day, and we were tinkering around and qualifying. We qualified really good. I mean, we had an amazing car, but we were lacking a little bit of horsepower, and with a little bit of a stumble, and we were able to make some adjustments, and we started last, and able to come back through and get it done. Absolutely incredible. This car, Jeff is right here, and this is a beautiful car. Got to thank everyone involved, and I was tearing up on that victory lap. Absolutely incredible. We've been really, really close. We had the best car the last 5 races or so, and we had a lot of inopportune cautions, and we got bounced around and stuff. But here, there wasn't any caution, and there wasn't. We were doing our thing, and there wasn't a chance for any mayhem.
I chatted with your crew chief, Dale Hedquist. I don't know if he's going to come over here and celebrate with you or not, but just before the race, he told me, he said, look, it's been a tough day. Obviously, we're having to start from the back, but Dale, you were so confident. You said we did it once earlier this season. Why can't we do it again? What is it about this team that makes you so confident in their ability to succeed?
People. All of them. That's what does it.
Short and sweet.
What we do is easy. These guys work to make it, be able to unroll a car, struggle. Nobody ever gives up. Nobody ever struggled to make a change. Everything just went flawless. We did what we had to do. And when you get him as a wheelman, it's kind of easy.
Well, and it's this team that not only created this moment right here, but this moment right here. Jeff Bodine, did you see him celebrating on this machine? Jeff, describe the emotions right now, seeing this race car back in victory lane.
It looks like the old days of that Big Red, number 1, going from the back to the front. I mean, no, they did a heck of a job. I don't know what they did on a pit stop, but they tuned you up and you were gone. That was awesome. What a great show. I've got to come to more of these.
Jeff Bodine, all smiles down here in Victory Lane. So much to celebrate. And before I let you guys go finish your celebrations, we got to see which driver in the field is going home with one free set of Hoosier tires. Patrick, go ahead and draw that number. All right, is the 15th place finisher. It looks like that is Max Zigums going home tonight with one set of Hoosier tires. Patrick, congratulations on the win. Plenty of people here want to celebrate. Go enjoy it.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank everyone involved, Rich Gautreau, Tim Lapine, and the Armstrong family. And this car looked beautiful, and it was. We came up one short here with this scheme last race, and we were able to get it done, and it's absolutely incredible and great team effort. Thank you to everyone involved.
Patrick Emerling, congratulations, win number 2 of the season, and what a tribute to Jeff Bodine in this number 1 Big Red Machine.
An emotional Victory Lane for sure. Patrick Emerling, all smiles, and this team, it was this time last year, they hit their stride and they put their name in the hat as one of the best closers of the series. This feels a lot like what we saw 1 year ago.
And remember, we go on to Richmond, of course, is going to be our next stop. And, of course, there's more great returning action right back here to Thompson Speedway for the World Series at the end of the year. Riverhead Raceway, and the list goes on. The Bar Harbor Bank and Trust driver in the limelight there. Let's take a look at the schedule. On August 14th, Richmond Raceway to Oswego Speedway, home of the Super Modifieds, on August 30th. Riverhead Raceway, September 6th. New Hampshire, the big stop, September 20th. Back here to Thompson Speedway Motorsport Park on October 12th. And the crowning of the champions from Martinsville Speedway. Don't be left out of this one. Let's go back down with Jesse.
Here with the second place finisher, Matt Hirschman. Matt, I know second place obviously wasn't the goal tonight, but I did see you smiling and celebrating with your team a bit. What was going through your mind finishing this race here tonight?
Only a win's a win, but for this team here in our past history at Thompson, this is by far our best performance. So I think the team's very happy with that. So we had good long run speed. We didn't really have short run speed or qualifying speed today, but we had long run speed, and we had that once last October here, but that was the only time. So good that we had a good race, good run. Was going forward, and that got us all the way here to second. And the one team, they won this race last year, if I remember correctly, and they've won here before. Where we're kind of gaining on it. We're a work in progress, but we took a big jump here tonight with a good run. It's a big boost for our confidence moving forward here.
Well, once again, we saw an incredible strategy from your team down there on pit road, and not only what they were able to do with the race car, but your ability to get around that 51 to get off of pit lane. Quickly take me back through that moment and how you guys pulled that off.
Well, it's good stops. I think the second stop was better than the first one, and that was important there. And when they dropped the jack, it's time to go. So I was able to get out ahead of them. They were there, I know, at one point, and Silk was inside of me several times. We definitely got together a few times racing hard there. But we had the long run speed because we pulled away from them, and their numbers aren't on the board. So I would have expected them to drive back to the front. To be honest, that's where they were at the start, but it didn't work out that way. And like I said, we had good speed at the right time, and just appreciate this whole elite towing team, and thank Bar Harbor Bank and Trust as well. And we've done well knocking top 5 finishes out. There's a few races though mechanically. If we could have back, it would be a different story. But we'll just do the best we can down the stretch and see if we can get another win to add to CCON.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
That's your second finisher, Matt Hirschman, and that's 60.
Yeah, the thoughts of Matt Hirschman, a solid second-place run for them. Certainly had a good car there at the end. You wonder if they were able to get through that traffic a little earlier after the green flag came out, if they would have had anything for Patrick Emerling, but he was lightning quick tonight for sure. The celebration down in Victory Lane continues on, and again, as Ben alluded to a moment ago, we are back racing Thursday night at the Richmond Raceway. Hope to have you join us for that one. Let's go down and hear from our third-place finisher with Jesse Punch.
Podium finish for Kyle Bonsignor. Kyle, you had a hard-charging Matt Hirschman coming at you in those final laps. Take me back through those final laps.
Yeah, we both, all three of us started deep with our tire strategy on that last restart, and got clear of everybody pretty quickly until we got to the top 5, and it took a lot more work to pass cars. But Matt was just better for, I would say, the last 25 laps by a solid 10th and a half a lap. And I tried everything to keep him behind me. It worked for about 6 laps, and then he just was able to drive by us and pull away. So really great job by the guys tonight, though. Cam McDermott gave me a great car. Qualified really well with top 6. We're able to drive up to second for a pretty good amount of the race there, and we just missed it a little bit on our last adjustment. Need to be a little bit tighter to stay with the 1, run down the 07 when he was out there. But they did a great job on pit road. Got to thank Robert Yates Race Engines. Look at the car here, LRD Creations, MTT, Master Truck and Trailer, Stones Performance, Mike Holmes, Excavating, everybody that helps us get here. Say hi to my wife and kids at home. See you guys tomorrow.
That's a 3rd place finish tonight for Kyle Bonsignor.
Chilou Performance as well. There you go.
Got to thank them all.
All right, so Kyle Bonsignor, a good run for them as that team continues to find speed week in and week out. They finish on the podium here tonight at Thompson. Well, the 750th race of the Whelen Modified Tour certainly lived up to all the hype tonight. We had a little bit of everything, a little strategy, a couple of on-track incidents that created some certainly excitement as the race went on, and a little bit of history with that one car flavored for Jeff Bodine in victory lane tonight.
It was the night of car number 1, and of course, an event that everybody will be talking about. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, 750 and going strong. And it all continues right here from Thompson Speedway.
Lots of action still yet to come. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday night, where it's the Richmond Raceway as the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour heads south. But for tonight, it's Patrick Emerling scoring his 2nd win of the season.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.